You're listening to another great podcast in the MyMac Podcasting Network.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the show where we take a wander around the week in Apple news, reviews, technology, associated products, and all sorts of other things that catch our eye. This is another episode of the Essential Apple Podcast. Hello everybody, we're back again. And this week we've had all sorts of things. WWDC has been announced. The not invitations have been sent out, complete with, I believe, 4 different versions. So criminologists can go bonkers, blowing their own minds, trying to figure out what that means. The event has been made clear for the March the 25th. It's showtime, and various other things have happened. So I'm joined this week by the fellow Suffolk MUG user group member and Slackroom boy. It's Suffolk Pete. Hello, Pete.
Hello.
Hello. Well, quite a lot of stuff going on this week, Pete.
There is, isn't there?
There is quite a lot of stuff. Obviously, I don't want to spend ages on the March the 25th Showtime event because we'll find out what they've got to offer soon enough there, I'll be honest. But speculation is, of course, rife. So I guess I don't normally go too much into speculation, but shall we just chuck a few ideas in the air?
Yeah.
What are you thinking? What are you thinking this Showtime event is likely to bring us?
Well, I quite like the idea that they're going to launch their new streaming service. Personally, I think they've missed the boat on that one, but they have surprised us in the past. Perhaps they will do to the streaming service what iTunes did to the music business, 14 years ago or whenever it was.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm interested to see what comes of it.
I'm interested to see what's going to come from it. I agree. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about a streaming service. Some people are saying it's going to be free. Some people are saying it's going to be paid for. Then there's also this news/magazines thing. Obviously, based on the fact that they purchased Texture. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that the news and magazines thing is going to be a paid for service.
I'm fairly sure.
I'm fairly sure that's going to be a paid for service. Of course, there's a lot of muttering that they're having trouble getting people to sign up for that because they want 50% of the revenue, which does seem a little bit steep, I have to say.
It does, and if Steve Jobs was still with us, I'd have faith that he would talk them round. But I'm not sure that they're going to be able to do that.
Well, I guess we'll have to see. My biggest problem with that is, can you actually encourage that many people? I mean, when was the last time you purchased a magazine? When was the last time you really looked at a magazine, Pete?
Man, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You know, I'm struggling with that. I can't remember the last time I went and purchased a physical, paper magazine. And I used to purchase them all the time. I had shelves full of them.
Well, didn't we just? We used to buy car magazines and computer magazines and lifestyle magazines. The internet has crushed a lot of that. I mean, even online magazines, really, it doesn't seem to be a thing. I think they're really struggling. No. I mean, that might play into Apple's hands, I guess.
Could do. I mean, I must admit, one of the reasons why I bought the iPad Pro 12.9 inch was that it's you can read a magazine on it really easily. Yeah, because of the bigger screen.
I mean, some people are also muttering about graphic novels. I don't know, but then there are already services for graphic novels and comics.
Yeah.
Well, we shall see what happens with that. The TV. Again, I've heard all sorts of rumours, anything between a sort of just a jumped up version of what we've already got, like an aggregation service. If that's all they've got to offer, I think it will flop. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
If all they're going to do is, you've got to do better than that.
Yes, definitely, and I suspect they will.
Yes, I think you're probably right there. The only other thing I have to say about that is for all the shouting and arm waving, I'm pretty sure it will come out as US only, because there's all this talk about HBO and Showtime and all these other services, and they're all US. So we won't. Yeah. I doubt us here in the UK or the rest of Europe will see anything for at least another year.
Yeah, I imagine so.
So I don't know, but I'll still be interested to see what they have to offer. I'll be interested to see how they go about that. If they do it right, it could fly. There's a lot of talk. I mean, they've spent a lot of money apparently, recruiting big names and filmmakers and stars, producers. One that particularly caught my eye is they're allegedly going to make a sci-fi series of Isaac Asimov's Foundation stories.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
That would interest me. But
I remember reading that back in the day, and that runs to quite a few novels, doesn't it? So that would run for
a long time. Yes,
wouldn't it?
That's a bit of a Game of Thrones if you get it right.
Yes.
If you could get that right, but we shall have to see.
And one other thing to speculate on is what device would you need to consume that on? Would they support the Apple TV 3, which I'd be interested in because that's what I've got, but would they force people to get the Apple TV 4?
Well, the talk very much is, I think they're going to have to be more open than that. The talk seems to be that, it's going to be on Macs and iPads and and iPhones and the Apple TV and possibly other smart TVs, because don't forget Samsung have done a deal with Apple for iTunes, I think.
Of course, yes. So it could appear on Samsung smart TVs.
If they're going to make it fly, it's going to have to be more open than just on Apple devices.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be something you can pull out almost anywhere. Well, that's my view. I just think if you...
No, I think you're right.
I mean, there's some people who are postulating we might see some hardware on the 25th. The suggestions seem to be that it could be the basic iPad and possibly the iPod Touch.
Right.
With the rationale behind that being that those would be, ideal content consumption devices. Not sure about that, but possible, I guess. Possible. There we are. Well, and of course, WWDC, 3rd to the 7th of June in San Jose. No real surprise there, I don't think.
No.
Phil Schiller gave a rare interview. I've got a link here to Apple Insider, and it was the Accidental Tech podcast. So Syracusa and co. Quite long. He's on there a good hour, talking about WWDC.
Okay.
Good listen. He's got plenty to say, that's for sure. About WWDC and
I shall have to have a listen to that. I see he appears in the first hour of the 2-hour podcast. I see.
Yes, he does. I have listened to it. He's always he doesn't give many interviews. I mean, he's turned up on John Gruber's sort of WWDC live show. Once or twice. He's got plenty to say there about WWDC and all the rest. Again, they're not letting on. Well, why would they? But we can guess mostly, I think, what we're likely to see there. Plenty of stuff about all the new OSs. Of course, lots of people are talking. Have you seen the not invitations?
No, I don't think I have.
They're not invitations because they send everybody an email with a thing saying enter because they have a lottery, don't they, to
Yeah.
Because, there's a lot more than 5,000 people want to get in.
Yes, I can imagine.
If you are lucky enough to be chosen in the lottery, you then have the pleasure of spending $1,600 to buy your ticket.
Ooh.
Yes, it's not cheap.
Okay.
Although,
No, it's not, is it?
then again, it is a week long, and
Yeah.
I think you get like boxed lunches are included in that, and drinks,
Okay.
beverages or whatever. They've sent out this time. They've got 4 invitations, or not invitations as they are. They say WWDC and the date, and they're based on 4 of the Animoji. There's I think the strap line is "Write code, blow minds." There's the robot, the skull, the alien, and the monkey, I believe.
Right.
And then, like, they have, their minds are being blown, and all sorts of app icons and things are coming out of their blowing up brains. Some interesting criminology, of course, going on about that. Somebody, I've got a link here. To who did it. Somebody has studied which icons stay in, are on all 4 and in the same places, and all sorts of other things, and attempting to read, meaning into that. Animoji to test flight. Apple's 4 WWDC invitations, which are bursting with app icons. Oh, Apple Insider, that was on. Apple Insider.
Yeah.
That's quite an interesting read. Well, again, some of the things they're trying to read into it. I mean, Swift, Metal, maps. Who knows? There'll be lots of new things, no doubt.
Yeah. I must admit, as someone who's lived through innumerable Apple events, shall we say, I get less and less excited about them. I've got to say, I think it's a bit like Christmas. You just wait long enough, you'll find out.
Yeah. I must admit, I get really excited to watch it, but I don't get sort of super ramped up in the run up to what we're going to see. Well, we'll find out when they come out and tell us. To be honest, there we are. And Apple have also released some new adverts, but they've also released this one, a 45-second video on why you should care about your smartphone's privacy.
Yeah, and that was a nice video. I thought that was really good, showing you every other aspect of your physical life. You put locks on and you care about your privacy by pulling curtains, etc. We don't apply that to our digital lives, it would seem.
Yeah. It was very slick. Well,
it was
very slick. Quite clever because it doesn't really reference the iPhone at all until the very end, does it?
No.
So quite clever. I like that.
So it's worth watching. As you say, it's 45 seconds, and they get their point across.
Yeah.
Quite well, I thought, in a short amount of time.
Yes, very much so. Very, very clever. Obviously aimed very much at your average user, of course. But cleverly put forward, really. As you say, all the thing with people locking their drawers, locking their doors, pulling the curtains, covering their PIN number, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then saying, shouldn't you do the same thing with your phone? Very much so.
Yeah, just posing the question. Doesn't tell you what to do, just kind of says, think about it.
Think about it.
Yeah.
And actually, kind of related to that, the National Cyber Security Centre, this is a UK government website, have expanded from what was originally aimed pretty much at security people and I think to some extent enterprise. They have expanded. They've now got a new beta website aimed at everybody. Now, I can't say I'm necessarily a huge fan of the UK government of any stripe, to be honest, or nor really, whether or not the UK government should be handing out advice. However, to be fair, I've had a look at this. It's kind of I don't know how to describe it really. I mean, they're now added sections sort of for everybody. So it's got it's got advice sections and help sections and report a cyber incident sections. But there's also like get advice, and then if you pop that open, it says like individuals and families, small business, self-employed people, that sort of thing. Whole raft of different sections, and then that then in itself breaks down to various sections of advice. I kind of guess that's not a bad thing to have. I've had a look at the sort of advice they're handing out. It's all fairly stock stuff, Use good passwords, don't reuse your passwords, that sort of thing. But yes, very much aimed, I think, at the man in the street. And actually,
although I've got to say the landing page for that. I was initially confused by it because the image at the top is a picture of the space shuttle taking off. And I'm thinking, why? As someone who chooses images for schools' publications and for their school's website, I was struggling with the relevance.
Because underneath it says a lot has happened in the 2 years since we launched.
Oh, I see. Yes. There's silly me. Didn't get that.
Well, yeah, but it's a bit cheesy. Yeah, it's a bit like why? Why's that got to do anything with it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a bad thing. For once, I'm not normally a big fan of this sort of thing, but I guess it can't hurt to have a kind of central starting point.
No, that's true.
That's not for anybody who's unsure. I've also heard a couple of slots on the radio, which I believe is probably promoting this, say, be cyber aware. There was one I caught yesterday where this sort of this bloke comes on and says, "Oi, so I suppose you think you're hard? No, not you. Your email password. Why do you think that's important? Because if somebody bad gets hold of your email, then you're in big trouble, governor." Like that, and then he sort of, they can steal your identity, and at least it's better than the normal government kind of public information film, catches your attention, and I think it ends up with go to cyberaware.gov.uk or something. So probably...
and if you follow some of the links from this web page, if you go for individuals and families, for example, there are sort of common questions with some advice like, I've been hacked, how do I recover my account? Should I pay a ransom to unlock my computer, etc., etc.? And also they've got a link to Cyber First here, which is an initiative for 11 to 19-year-olds, which I think is a good thing. Good that the government's actually acknowledging the problem and writing something for 11 to 19-year-olds who, let's face it, live in cyberspace all the time.
So actually, as I say, I'm not normally, because quite often, let's be honest, often these sort of government initiatives, you go there and they're terrible, rubbish. This does not actually look terrible. I won't say it's the deepest or most, it's not very original, but there again, good advice often isn't very original, is it? It's often the good old message we've been banging on, back your stuff up. I'm glad to see amongst one of their top tips is back your stuff up. So not a bad overall, not a bad effort. It's in beta. They're encouraging people to give them feedback about how they should improve it or develop it. So I think for once I'd give that a thumbs up. To be honest, I think I would give that a thumbs up.
Same here. Despite the dodgy image they use.
Yes, there we go. So that was that. What else have we got here? Oh, well, we've got this one.
Yes. Is this going to be AirPods?
Yes. Apparently, scientists have signed a petition saying that AirPods can cause cancer. This is on iPhone Arena or Phone Arena. I can't remember.
Phone Arena.
Really?
Well,
So
presumably, your risk is doubled if you are listening to music through your AirPods, eating fried bacon on a burnt sandwich.
Yes,
Just toasted sandwich, yeah.
I was going to say,
which are all things that have been linked with cancer before.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Apparently, do not use your AirPods while eating well done bacon on on a toast in a toasty.
Yeah.
No, sorry, really, I'm a bit like.
Yeah, everything. Modern life causes cancer.
Well, there's that, and my other problem with that is, we've had endless studies in the past. Do mobile phones give you cancer? Does living near 250 kilovolt electric pylon lines give you cancer? None of them have ever apparently turned up any evidence to suggest that they do. And we live in an EF soup, Pete.
We do, don't we?
If you could see it, we're not walking around in in an empty atmosphere. We're swimming through electromagnetic radiation.
We are, aren't we? Yeah. So I'm not sure that popping a pair of wireless AirPods in a couple of times a week is going to significantly increase your chances of catching cancer.
No, I don't. I'm not convinced by that. That sounds like one of those. Oh, we've irradiated rats by strapping 500 AirPods to them, and some of them got cancer.
Yeah.
No. No, I don't want to poo-poo these things. I don't want to be. I'm sure it's good that people do look into these things, but really, I think a lot of these things, it's you have to weigh the risk, don't you? And how much of a risk is it really? I mean, after all that scare about bacon and toast, some, shall we say, some more level-headed statisticians came out and said, yeah, sure, there's a tiny increase in risk, but unless you live on charred bacon on burnt toast for years on end, I suspect the significance.
And listen to Apple AirPods all the time.
Yeah. 24/7, jacked up to maximum. Oh dear. There we are. This one caught my eye. The Corel Graphics Suite 2019 comes to Mac.
Yeah.
Now, this is only really of interest to some extent to me because a long time ago, in the mists of time, Corel Draw, which is, of course, has always been a big player on Windows, came to the Mac. I can't remember what version it was, 5 or 6. I can't remember now. And at the time, it was marketed very aggressively. It was marketed at a very good price. It came with a CD full of fonts, Bitstream, pretty much a whole library of Bitstream fonts, about 2,000 fonts, I think. It came with a whole load of clip art, which was a lot for those days. And it was touted as, Corel Draw comes to Macintosh and 100% compatible. And back in those days, I had a few clients who used Corel Draw on Windows, and I thought it might help solve some issues. They lied, Pete. They lied to me. They lied. It was not 100% compatible. It was terrible. It was a diabolical piece of poop. And after a year, they brought out another version, which they said, this time, we fixed it all. We promise.
Yeah.
And if you bought the last version and were disappointed, please buy this version and we'll give you a massive discount on upgrading. So I did, and it was no better. If anything, it was worse. So I never had any more truck with it. I think it limped on till version 11 before they killed it. And now it's back.
It's back to the Mac.
Back to the Mac. Now has Mojave and dark mode support. Ooh.
Yeah, whoopie-doo.
Whoop-de-doo. Touch bar integration and more. Yes,
okay.
And then you and I have had a look at this, haven't we, Pete? What did you say about the price?
$18.99 a month.
Yeah.
Although if you pay annually, it's cheaper.
Or you can buy it for £600.
Yeah.
You can buy it outright for £600.
I must admit, when I first saw this story, I thought, this will be interesting, because I'll be interested to see how they've priced this against, Adobe's offering, which obviously, as you know, you rent essentially. And I thought they would try to undercut them or do something differently. But it appears that they're going down the same route. In fact, they're going down a more expensive route, $18.99 a month.
I forget what the full Adobe Creative Cloud, which includes everything, obviously.
Yeah.
I think is about
It's quite a lot.
£40 a month.
Yeah.
Then there's like the photographer's deal, isn't there, which gets you Photoshop and Lightroom.
Yeah.
And
which is what, £10-12 a month, something like that.
I think it's £10 a month.
Yeah.
Which isn't too bad a deal. I think if you're a regular user, that's probably not too bad a deal.
Yeah.
But I would be very, very wary, I'll be honest, of this Corel Draw. I'm going to download the demo, the free 30 days or whatever it is, and have a play with it. But I'd be very wary of it myself. And to be honest, of course, for £50 or thereabouts, you could buy Affinity Designer, which is, it really is, well known now, has established itself, and of course has won awards. So,
and is a lot cheaper and available for the iPad. Well, I imagine CorelDRAW is as well, but I like Affinity.
So there we go. I will report back after I've experimented with it, but I expect to come back fairly disappointed. Okay. I certainly would not be looking to spend £600 on it. That's for sure. And then we have patently Apple. Apple have had a fourth head-mounted display device patent this month. Now, we all know Apple patent all sorts of things.
Yes.
Obviously, people are interested in this because it focuses on a head-mounted display. It's more interesting, I think, because as Patently Apple have pointed out, first of all, they patented a motorized adjustable headband system, which was apparently designed to, automatically make the thing fit to your head nicely. Then they had a thermal regulation system patent. I guess that's
on March 9th.
I guess that's fans to stop your eyeballs getting too sweaty.
Because those head-mounted displays, if you've got them on for a long time, especially if they're non-breathable material, it can get quite warm and sweaty.
And then they had a patent in Europe designed to assist users avoiding eye dazzle.
Eye dazzle.
Which apparently I didn't read into that too much, but it's supposed to help you, adjust your not be blinded when you take the when you take the item off. And then this one is for a face seal. To ensure that exterior light does not interfere with the content the user is viewing and to provide users with maximum comfort.
I didn't know you patented that sort of thing. I mean, essentially the head display that I've got has got a, it's just a black foam, and it's got little holes in the foam to make it breathable. And maybe they patented that. I don't know. But strange.
It would appear it says they're talking about multiple support members. The support seal members are independent elements incorporated into the seal. It's formed from a resilient compressible material compressing in response to engagement with the face.
Okay. So it's some sort of So
guess what?
It's almost like a feedback.
It's a synthetic rubber closed cell foam material with open cell foam material. In other words, yes, it's a spongy. It's a spongy. It's got some sort of.
It's a sponge with holes in
it. I don't quite understand what this is. I assume it's trying to. I guess the point here is it's got some sort of reinforcing members in it to try and stop it sliding down your face or something. I don't know. Well, whatever else it is, what this thing looks like is exactly what you would think nobody really wants, which is a box strapped on the front of your face. Yeah,
I've got to say the diagrams that accompany these patents show quite a large box strapped to your head.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Things like the Oculus and various other things are kind of like that. This looks more like a VR kind of rig, though, wouldn't you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah,
Yes. And then again, of course, in a patent, they usually just draw these objects as very
I suppose
square
so.
boxes to give nothing away.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like a large diver's mask, isn't it? Really.
yeah,
But that looks very much more like a VR kind of rig to me. And I'm pretty sure that if Apple are going to do something, they're going to go for AR, and they're going to want something that's much more like a pair of sunglasses.
yeah, definitely.
You want my honest opinion on that?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
interesting, nevertheless. Apple are still, are racking up patents galore.
Yeah, I guess we'll know more in 4 or 5 years' time when we're all wearing these, and then we're recording the show together with VR headsets, and we can see each other.
Yep, there we go.
Obviously, we won't be doing that with Apple AirPods though, because we'll have cancer.
Oh no, yeah, well that'll be the next thing, won't it? AR glasses give you eye cancer.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there's no escape.
Oh dear. Right. What else have we got? Oh,
Well, under technology, we got something that caught my eye because I'm a Mozilla user because I use Firefox. They've launched their Firefox Send, which is it's a free encrypted file sharing service.
yes. This I think Mac Jim posted this in the Slack room. It's called Firefox Send.
And I've gone to the relevant web page and I've signed into my account, and it's really simple to use. Literally drag and drop files into an area in your browser, and then you send a link to them, and you can have a password on there as well.
Okay, it says here, this service allows web users to share files of up to 2.5 gigabytes in size through the browser while protecting them with end-to-end encryption and a link which automatically expires. Okay. All right. When Mozilla began testing this web-based sending tool, file shares were limited to 1 gigabyte. Today, this remains the limitation unless you sign up for a free Firefox account. Okay. To be honest, it sounds in a way very much like WeTransfer.
Yeah.
Well, there are several services that do that, don't they?
There are, aren't there?
We send big files, those sorts of people.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you've already got a Mozilla account, I think it's probably worth checking out.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah. So I've just selected a file to upload, and then you can choose. It expires after one download, and you can choose the number of downloads before it expires, or you can choose days. You can do 5 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day, or 7 days, and you can password protect it.
Okay, yeah. Firefox Send offers a link you give to the recipient however you see fit. They click the link to start the download, and they do not need a Firefox account to access the files. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, this. I think I'm going to use that.
Yeah. I mean, I quite often use WeTransfer, which is free. I'm not quite sure how they managed to support that.
Yeah.
Allowing you to send big files for nothing. Mozilla is one of the more trustworthy organisations when it comes to things like this. It says Send is private by design. All files are protected. Okay. Well, there you go. This could help Firefox attract a new audience to its web tools and services.
Yeah.
Firefox was once a top browser and a household name, but its market share declined over the years as the built-in options from larger tech companies took hold. Like i.e. Safari and Chrome. No, sorry there, TechCrunch. Firefox came out in order to tackle Internet Explorer. Chrome, I think, was the initial, took over from Firefox to some extent.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick look at market share here for Firefox against. Let's have a look. Got all the usual ones.
I think Firefox is having a bit of a resurgence because it did become quite slow and overblown until they revamped it, didn't they? called it Firefox Quantum, I think. And that was a an update to the whole way it worked. So yeah, I think Firefox is probably growing again at the minute, particularly as a lot of people are trying to move away from Chrome.
Yeah.
People are coming, more and more people I think are becoming disillusioned with the whole Google. I don't know what the Googleopoly.
Yes, Googleopoly.
The Googleopoly.
Yeah.
So there we go, and of course there are other browsers on the rise.
And on the back of that, Dropbox has limits free users to 3 devices now.
Yes. Dropbox is the link I've got here is from PC Mag, but I'm sure it's probably all over the place. Dropbox will limit account linking to 3 devices for free users. I don't know how much of a problem that is.
No, I mean, I've got a Dropbox account. I use it on 3 devices at the moment. iPad, iPhone and Mac.
Yeah, it says good news is that this change will only apply to new devices you attempt to link to your account. In order to exceed this limit, you'll need to upgrade your Dropbox account to a paid plan. I don't know how many devices I've got linked to my Dropbox account. It's probably more than 3, although I probably only really use 3.
Yeah, you might need to go into your Dropbox account and just delete a few of those.
Well, as far as I can see, if you already have more than 3, they're not going to cut you off. So if you've already got like 10 devices connected, then you can continue to use those 10. As they say here, it's likely intended to nudge free users into a paid plan. A Plus account starts at $10 a month for 1 terabyte of storage. If you want my honest view of that, I would have thought likely to push more people over to OneDrive or
maybe iCloud. If you're using a Mac.
Well, obviously, if you're on in the Apple ecosphere, the iCloud.
Yeah.
But I would suspect there are a lot of people who might now decide to drop Dropbox. And if you're an Office subscriber, you get 1 terabyte. Is it for free on OneDrive, or it might even be unlimited? I can't remember now.
Yeah, I'm not sure because I've got educational account, and I think it's unlimited and it's free. So
yeah, I think if you're an Office 365, I think it might be 1 terabyte.
Yeah,
but because Dropbox was always fairly stingy, to be honest, with what it gave you for free. And
I think now they charge $9.99 a month for 1 terabyte of storage, whereas iCloud charge 2 terabytes for £6.99 pounds.
Right, it probably works out about the same, I would have thought. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's not going to push me to stop using Dropbox, but I don't pay. I have relatively speaking, quite a lot of space on Dropbox because I was an early user and I recommended it to a lot of people, and I got quite a lot of free space that way from the referrals bonus.
Yes, yeah, that was quite handy in the early days, wasn't it? Like I've got about 7.5 gigabytes of space there, which I only use it for our village magazine stuff. So I'm kind of only about halfway through that.
Yeah, I think I've got about 20.
You did well, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got about 20 on. I think it's 20 or 25 on OneDrive. Because when Microsoft first launched that, when they brought out an app for iOS in like 2008, it was like install the. It wasn't called OneDrive then; it was called something else. But it was like sign up as an early user and put something in your Dropbox from your in your OneDrive from your iPhone.
Yeah,
and we'll give you 20 gig of data. Storage free forever.
Yeah.
They tried to take that away from some people, but I'm still grandfathered in because all I did was send them an email going, "No, I'm still using that, thank you." So I have quite a lot of OneDrive space. And the other one I use, of course, is Mega, which will give you 50 gigabytes for free.
Really?
Yeah. They do limit the amount of up-down traffic per month that you use on that, but it's a good place to store stuff.
Yeah. I don't think I know that. I'll look that up. Mind you, having said that,
it's
Mega,
because Mega.nz is where that is.
Yeah. But yeah, because of I've got my iCloud account and a little bit of space on Dropbox, and through the school I've got Google Drive and OneDrive. I'm fairly well.
Yes, I think the truth of it is
catered for.
It's not that hard, is it, really, to collect quite a lot of these services and have bits and pieces all over the place.
Yeah.
So I don't know, the Mozilla one sounds interesting. Certainly, it'd certainly be worth a look. I should probably sign up to that. As I say, I mostly use WeTransfer, which is a fabulous service, and how the hell they provide that for nothing, I don't know, but there we are. There we go. Interesting stuff. Technology stories. I like this one, Pete. IKEA 3D printed add-ons makes furniture accessible for people with disabilities. This was on The Verge. It's a selection of 3D printable items which you can download from the site. The site is called Thisables, apparently. They have here suggestions. What they say here is the IKEA furniture is ubiquitous because it is affordable, but it is not always accessible to everyone, especially people with disabilities. For example, some wardrobes are handleless. It can be difficult to turn on a lamp with tiny switches. To remedy this, IKEA Israel have teamed up with the non-profits Milbat and Access Israel to develop Thisables, a line of 3D printed add-ons for IKEA furniture. Currently 13 designs are available. Slip over IKEA furniture and accessories to turn a small button into a giant one, or to lift a couch a few inches from the ground to help make getting up easier. Okay, installation for all of the 3D modifications are demonstrated on the IKEA Israel's YouTube page. Okay, yeah, well, I like this. They've got things here.
It looks good. The friendly zipper looks quite interesting and looks handy for anyone who wants to do a coat up while they're wearing gloves, to be honest.
Yes. Or if you've, or if you've ever tried to do up a small child's coat while they don't want you to and are wriggling. Yeah, come here. So we've got here, for example, an easy handle, which looks like it slips over the edge of the, door or drawer to give you an easy, an easy handle. We've got a mega switch, which looks like basically I'm pretty sure that's like a big button that goes over the top of a small button. Cane by Me, which is that's a walking stick, hook. For those who need to use yes, that might seem trivial, but if you've ever had to use a walking stick any amount, you'll soon find how annoying it is that there's nowhere to put the damn thing when you sit down.
There isn't, is there?
And then it, if you have to use one all the time, and then it will, wherever you put it, it will fall over, and then you somehow have to try and retrieve the damn thing from the floor. So that's quite a nice little mod. Simply a hook to hang your walking stick on. Very nice. So currently 13 mods for IKEA items there, and they are welcoming suggestions for more product add-ons. There we go.
Yeah, no, good idea. Hats off to them, especially if you've got access to a 3D printer.
Yes, obviously. But then, I'm sure if you were in need, there are possibly places you could get such things done.
Yeah, yes, I'm sure there is.
Yeah. Perhaps. I know, for example, you said your school has purchased a 3D printer.
Yes. So if you're the parent of a secondary school age student and the school has a 3D printer, I'm sure that they would welcome the idea of doing a lesson or so around 3D printing some of these things, or to help differently abled people.
And also, yes, it would be make a good, an interesting lesson subject. I would have thought.
Yeah.
You could incorporate 3D printing, possibly designing 3D objects, of course, and explaining how simple things can help people who have, disabilities of one sort or another. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that, people who, have disabilities need to have, big solutions. Often,
and often it's just the little things, isn't it?
Yes, often it is. It is often little things that people find annoying or difficult. There we are. That was that. We've got I've got a couple here. We're sort of coming to the end now, Pete. To be honest. We did the national cyber security. Dougie has put one in the Slack room. Macquisition will decrypt physical images from Macs with T2 chips. Apparently, this is, a digital forensic tool. Our Mac forensic tool, Macquisition, will be the first and only solution to produce a decrypted physical image of Apple's latest Mac systems, which utilise the T2 chip.
Now, the T2 chip is only in a certain number of Macs, isn't it? Is it only in the MacBook Pros?
At the moment, I think it's in the MacBook Pros. Might be in the iMac Pro.
Right.
I suspect that the T2 chip will come to more Apple devices as time goes on. According to this, every Mac computer starting from late 2017 relies on Apple's T2 security chip for hardware-assisted encryption of data. Apple's T2 encryption methodology is unique to each Mac, and critical data can only be decrypted using the keys stored on that system's T2 chip. Right. Although it is infeasible to extract the encryption keys from the T2 chip, Blackbag has built the only solution which works with the chip to decrypt the file system at collection time. Unlike other products which require admin credentials just to obtain logical data, Blackbag can do this without the user's credentials or a recovery key. Credentials are required if the additional security of File Vault is also enabled. Okay. Well, I'm not quite sure how that works. Obviously, that's kind of both scary and interesting.
And I imagine, now it's come to light, I imagine Apple will sort that out.
I have no idea. I mean, this is a company, obviously, who sell to people like at Dougie, who work for law enforcement and the like. Interesting. Not quite sure. Dougie didn't offer any comment on it, I have to say. Of course, he's in an interesting position, isn't he, Andy? Because he uses these tools to do his job, and yet at the same time, he's quite often appalled by just
what you can do.
What you can do if you know how. There we are. I guess what that tells you is if you are up to nefarious things, use File Vault. If you're if you're doing nefarious things, you should be probably staying away from computers most of the time anyway. There we are. That was that. IBM have been naughty apparently and have been using Flickr photos for facial recognition big data.
To be fair to them, when you read through the story, they've taken images from it's a data set of Flickr images originally compiled by Yahoo, and they were photos that were listed under the Creative Commons license, meaning that they can be reused without any.
This is one of those where it's sort of a borderline.
And of course, they're just working on the images themselves, taking measurements of people's faces. There's no personal data.
No, I was going to say the thing here is, a digital rights group said that IBM's actions represented a huge threat to people's privacy. I'm not so sure about that.
No, I think there's other things that represent a huge threat to our personal privacy.
It was the measurements of people's faces rather than the photos themselves that IBM has compiled into its own data set.
Yeah.
I'm not keen on big businesses hoovering up huge amounts of data without anybody's consent. But in this case, maybe they should have been a bit more open about what they were going to do. But I don't, this is not really impinging on anybody's personal privacy, is it? They're downloading 1 million photographs and stuffing them into, a big data.
In order to get AI to recognize what is a human face more readily, then it's not extracting personal data.
I mean, somebody said here, Flickr's community guidelines say don't be creepy. IBM has gone far beyond it. Using these photos in this way is a flagrant breach of anti-creepiness. I'm not sure about that, really. I don't, they probably should have asked maybe or said something. Well, they probably did. They probably did a deal with Yahoo for the data.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they said, can you sell us this?
Or can we? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not interested in anybody individually, are they? It's of no consequence to them. What they want is millions of photographs containing people's faces. Yeah,
they just want a large data set to train their AI system.
Exactly.
Essentially.
Talking about data sets, somebody commented, I think it was on Twitter, there was a comment about, those awful CAPTCHA things that say, click all the squares with cars. Click all the ones, they're always like, click all the ones with cars, click all the ones with traffic lights, click all the ones with road signs. Somebody in a sort of a semi-throwaway, slightly, slightly jokey, I think, said, is this actually really just being used to train driverless car AI to help it understand what a traffic light looks like?
Well, if you're programming a driverless car AI, you probably want a data set of to train your AI. Yeah.
Well, actually, and think about it, I'm sure it's probably not, but that's quite amusing because, yes, you've got all these millions of people going, this is a sign, this is a... you could use that very well to train an AI to pick out road signs and shop fronts and cars. There we are. No, the whole IBM thing, I think that's possibly a little on the hysterical side, to be honest. I'm fairly tinfoil hatted. There's a lot of things I really don't like that people like Facebook and Google get up to. I really don't think I'd get all that upset about that. It doesn't strike me as particularly creepy in that sense. Why is it any more creepy than saying we took, we watched 10 million hours of BBC TV and used that to train facial recognition? No, the stuff's out there. Sorry, the stuff's out there on Flickr. That's within... It's not like they were stealing the pictures and reusing them. That would be a whole different ballgame, wouldn't it? If IBM were taking pictures from Flickr and then using them in their advertising brochures, that would be a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, definitely.
And staying with the last one on privacy that I've got down here is Proton Mail have published their transparency report. As you know, I'm a big Proton Mail user.
Aren't you? Yeah.
Right, it says here, from time to time, Proton Mail may receive requests for assistance from law enforcement authorities. As a strict general rule, Proton Mail only complies with legally binding requests approved by the Swiss authorities. Moreover, under 271 of the Swiss Criminal Code, it is an offence to comply with a foreign request which has not been approved by the Swiss authorities. So, therefore, Proton Mail only complies with two types of requests. Requests directly from the Swiss authorities and foreign requests which have been instructed and validated by the Swiss authorities. And then, as they say here, Proton Mail is not required to store communications metadata or IP information. We are exempted from the Swiss Federal Act on the Surveillance of Post and Telecommunications, whatever that might be. Proton Mail can apply a policy of collecting as little user information as possible. See here, right? all data requests are checked by our internal abuse and legal team in the event that we have questions about the legality of the request. And then they have a list on their Welcome Canary of various things. Basically, January 2019, we discovered evidence that a data request from an EU country in Eastern Europe may have been improperly targeting a whistleblower which exposed corruption involving a high-ranking politician. As a result, we are opposing the assistance request from the Swiss prosecutor's office. And there's a list of various things that they've done, going back about 5 years there. Most of them basically will say, we received a request regarding an overseas company which came with a valid international letter, blah, blah, blah. And, it says whether they decided to, comply or not, or to fight. What they have got, which is quite rather more shocking, I guess, is the aggregated statistics. For 2017, Proton Mail received 13 requests direct from Swiss authorities and 13 approved by the Swiss authorities, and they contested 3 of these requests and complied with 23. 2018, they received 262 requests from the Swiss authorities and 76 approved by the Swiss authorities, and they have contested 4 of these and complied with 336. So that's a pretty massive jump.
It is, isn't it?
I guess that's also probably partially related to their growth because,
that's what I'm thinking.
They are, they're relatively new, and I'm pretty sure their user growth has accelerated in the last couple of years. Overall, I did read through most of this, and for example, as nearly all of these, where they say, after reviewing a relevant court order, Proton Technologies agreed to comply with the data request to the extent that it is possible given our cryptography. Here we have one in first quarter of 2017. We received a request concerning alleged cybercrime in Georgia. After reviewing this relevant court order, our legal team determined that this request was excessively broad. We have challenged this request. There we go. Overall, there's one or two here where they've said evidence was presented of criminal activity, and this was blatantly outside our terms of service, and we served up what information we had as soon as possible, even before we required paperwork was received. But here we go. Court order was received soon after we rendered assistance. So, I think that's good. That's clear. They're quite clear here about what they're doing. Effectively, what they're saying, they do not attempt to obstruct the law, in any way. They do their best to preserve, your user privacy. But if you're found to be,
big fan, aren't you? And you've used them for some time.
Yeah. Here we go. In May 2018, upon request from a top law enforcement officer in an EU country, and in a case involving terrorism with imminent threat, we disabled an account and rendered assistance with assurance from the Swiss authorities that the court order would be on its way. We received a court order per our standard procedure for cases like this. We will ensure all applicable due process was followed. But, what they're openly saying here is if we think if it would appear that you are engaged in, blatantly illegal behaviour, then you're outside their terms of service anyway, and they don't they don't feel any reason to not assist the legal, the legal authorities. Well, I think we're pretty much done now, Pete.
I think so.
I think that's pretty much it. Worth a chirp here, which is about it. This came from Mac Jim. If you can't find a symbol you need on the iOS keyboard, he has a link here to a website where called Glyphboard, which allows you, which shows various dingbats which you can cut and paste. I've had a look in the App Store. There's quite a lot of apps that will do this for you as well. The first couple I downloaded, which were free, immediately opened up with an advert, so they went straight in the bin. There are some you can pay. If you need one, I'm sure it's worth paying 99p or £1.99 for one that doesn't have adverts in it. Usually they're just a huge table of all the Unicode symbols.
Yeah.
And finally, I haven't really had a chance to look at this one because Mac Jim literally posted it as we were about to start recording the show. And this is called the Wi-Fi Blast. The bit that goes with it, which I did read, implies that greedy internet service providers actually choke off people's bandwidth over time. Now, this might be an American thing. I don't know. Basically, it's an advert for a product called the Wi-Fi Blast, which claims to keep your internet unthrottled. So there we go. Can't say anything more about it than that because I haven't really had any chance to have a look at it.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a look at that for next time.
Yep, there we are. Well, I think that's enough. I think we've covered all the stories, really.
I think so, yeah.
So, thank you very much for coming on and helping me out.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
This is, of course, where we wrap it up. So you get to plug whatever it is, wherever you, can be found, if anywhere.
No, I used to use Twitter quite a lot, but I don't know. The delights of social media are passing me by these days.
Okay, well, in that case, if you want to send a tweet to Pete, he is on Twitter as @Hermboy. He might eventually pick it up and get back to you. If not, probably far better is to join the Slack room where, Pete, along with the rest of us, hangs out. And I think that's about it. So yeah. I am, of course, on the Twitter as @Serenak, and that's SERENAK. And all of the Essential Apple stuff is over at essentialapple.com, as I'm sure everybody listening knows. So what I will say is that after the event on the 25th, the It's Showtime, I have secured as a guest Carolina Milanese, who is from Creative Strategies and part of the Tech Pinions team. So I'm very much looking forward to her take on what Apple reveal on the 25th. But other than that, I think we'll say goodbye, shall we?
Yep, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Great news for photographers. A company called Black Eye Lens, website blackeyelens.com, from Helsinki, Finland, has a series of new high-quality universal clip-on lenses that must be seen to be appreciated. Go to the website and see the videos on how they work. The first one we are evaluating here at Nemo's hardware store is the Pro Portrait Tele G4, P-R-O-P-O-R-T-R-A-I-T T-E-L-E G4. Works on all modern smartphones. We've been testing it on the original iPhone X, both in 1X and 2X mode. The Portrait Tele G4 increases the focal length by 2.5 times. So when you want to get much, much closer without zooming in or cropping, using the original lens, whether it's a 1X or a 2X, on any of your new iPhones, depending on what model you have, it makes the subject pop much, much closer. This is the lens we have been waiting for forever, iPhone photographers. It's substantial but also compact, with a beautiful protected, coated, high-quality premium lens. It's about 1 inch across, roughly, the lens part. The entire assembly with the clip fits in my hand when I grip it. The clamp is quite substantial. Got a good gripping mechanism and strong spring. There is a very, very important lens cover to keep on it to protect the optics. It also includes a cleaning cloth and a fairly flimsy synthetic drawstring bag to carry it in. I'm going to put it in something much more robust for protection. Cost in the U.S. is $90. You will find it in your country. Simon will have the links for as many countries as he can find for the Pro Portrait Tele G4 Universal clip-on lens for all iPhones last couple of years. It also does work on the competition, but we're concerned here about the iPhone X, the R, the S, the Max. You know who you are. This is a fabulous product, and many of us here at Essential Apple are quite serious photographers, and we are going to go bonkers with the options we can have, the improved photography we can do, getting much, much closer without moving closer using the Black Eye Lens Pro Portrait Tele G4. Excellent product. Thank you for bringing this to our attention, our new friends in Helsinki, Finland. Back next week with more of hardware and otherware from Nemo.
You've been listening to the Essential Apple podcast, and I'd like to say if you enjoy the show and would like to support us, feel free to go over to the website essentialapple.com and you will find links to both Patreon and the Pinecast Tips Jar, where you can make a donation towards the costs of the show, or even if you're really keen, you could set up a recurring payment. And thank you very, very much to all the people who already do support us. We really do appreciate you very much indeed. This show is, of course, part of the My Mac podcasting network, where you can find a variety of other shows like the My Mac podcast with Guy and Gaz, the G-Men, Tech Fan with Tim and David, the Nintendo Club podcast, the geekiest show ever, the Three Geeky Ladies, Bart Bouchot's and his wonderful Let's Talk Apple, and possibly some more that I've forgotten. So why not go over to mymac.com, take a look at the available podcasts, and take a listen.
Everybody, please stand by. And, well, we'll be right back.
And welcome everyone back to the mymac.com podcast.
All right, so let's carry on. But
I'm still laughing about something that happened just before we started recording, and we're going to talk about that right now.
I don't know if you heard, Guy, but Sal's going. Did you know that?
Yeah, I heard that. He's leaving Apple. It's a tragedy for everybody.
Oh dear, this is not going well, is it? We are so childish.
We are.
Really are.
It's the G-Men on the mymac.com podcast.
Has been the Essential Apple Podcast. Goodbye and thank you for listening.